Magnificat anima mea Dominum,
et exsultat spiritus meus in Deo salutari meo,
quia respexit humilitatem mansile sue, ex enim ex hoc beata medicent omnes generationes.
quia fecit me magna qui potens est, et sanctum nomen eius,
Et misericordia eius a progenie in progenies, timentibus eum,
fecit potentiam in brachio suum, dispersit superbos mente cordis sui,
deposuit potentes sede, et exaltavit humildes.
Suriente simple diponis, et divides dimisit in annes,
Suscepit Israel puerum suum, recordatus misericordiae suae,
sicut locutus est ad Patres nostros, Abraham et semini eius in saecula.
gloria Patri et Filio et Spiritui Sancto,
Sicut erat in principio et nunc et semper, et in saecula saeculorum. Amen.
The Virgin Mary in the Kingdom of the Divine Will, by the servant of God, Luisa Picaretta, little daughter of the Divine Will. For private use only. Meditations for the month of May, for the House of the Divine Will. May 6, 1930. Luisa Picaretta. Fiat. JMJ. Maternal Appeal of the Queen of Heaven. Dearest daughter, I feel the irresistible need to descend from heaven to make you my maternal visits. If you assure me of your filial love and faithfulness, I will remain always with you in your soul, to be your teacher, model, example, and most tender mother. I come to invite you to enter into the kingdom of your Mama, that is, the kingdom of the Divine Will, and I knock at the door of your heart, that you may open it to me. You know, with my own hands I bring you this book as gift. I offer it to you with maternal care, so that in your turn, in reading it, you may learn to live of heaven and no longer of earth. This book is of gold, my child. It will form your spiritual fortune, your happiness, also terrestrial. In it you will find the font of all goods. If you are weak, you will acquire strength. If you are tempted, you will achieve victory. If you have fallen into sin, you will find the pitying and powerful hand that will lift you up again. If you feel afflicted, you will find comfort. If cold, the sure means to get warm. If hungry, you will enjoy the delicious food of the divine will. With it you will lack nothing. You will no longer be alone, because your Mama will keep you sweet company, and with her every maternal care, she will take on the commitment of making you happy. I, the Celestial Empress, will take care of all your needs, provided that you consent to live united with me. If you knew my yearnings, my ardent sighs, and also the tears I shed for my children, if you knew how I burn with the desire that you listen to my lessons, all of heaven, and learn to live of divine will. In this book, you will see wonders. You will find a Mama who loves you so much as to sacrifice her own beloved son for you, in order to allow you to live of that same life of which she lived upon earth. Oh, please, do not give me this sorrow. Do not reject me. Accept this gift of heaven that I am bringing you. Welcome my visit, my lessons. Know that I will go throughout the whole world. I will go to each individual, to all families, to religious communities, to every nation, to all peoples. And if needed, I will go around for entire centuries, until as queen, I have formed my people, and as mother, my children, who would know the divine will and let it reign everywhere. Here is the purpose of this book explained to you. Those who will welcome it with love will be the first fortunate children who will belong to the kingdom of the divine fiat. And I, with gold characters, will write their names in my maternal heart. See, my child, that same infinite love of God, which in redemption wanted to use me in order to make the eternal word descend upon earth, is now calling me into the field once again, entrusting to me the difficult task, the sublime mandate of forming on earth the children of the kingdom of his divine will. Therefore, with maternal care I set to work, and I prepare for you the way which will lead you to this happy kingdom. For this purpose, I will give you sublime and celestial lessons, and finally, I will teach you special and new prayers, through which you will commit the heavens, the sun, the creation, my very life and that of my Son, and all the acts of the saints, so that in your name they may infiltrate the adorable kingdom of the divine will. These prayers are the most powerful, because they bind the very divine operating. By means of them, God will feel disarmed and conquered by the creature. Confident of this help, you will hasten the coming of his most happy kingdom, and with me, you will obtain that the divine will be done on earth as it is in heaven, according to the desire of the divine Master. Courage, my daughter. Make me content, and I will bless you. Prayer to the Celestial Queen for each day of the month of May. Immaculate Queen, my celestial mother, I come onto your maternal knees to abandon myself in your arms as your dear daughter, in order to ask of you, with the most ardent sighs, in this month consecrated to you, the greatest of graces, that you admit me to live in the kingdom of the divine will. Holy Mamma, you who are the queen of this kingdom, admit me to live in it as your daughter, that it may no longer be deserted, but populated by your children. Therefore, Sovereign Queen, I entrust myself to you, that you may lead my steps in the kingdom of the divine will. And as I cling to your maternal hand, you will lead all my being to live perennial life in the divine will. You will be my Mamma, and to you, as my Mamma, I deliver my will, that you may exchange it with the divine will, and so I may be sure I will not go out of its kingdom. Therefore I pray you to illumine me, in order to make me comprehend what will of God means. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now, and at the hour of our death. Amen. Little Sacrifice of the Month. Each morning, midday, and night, 3 times a day, let us go onto the knees of our celestial Mamma and say to her, My Mamma, I love you, and you, love me and give a sip of divine will to my soul. Give me your blessing, that I may do all of my actions under your maternal gaze. The Virgin Mary in the Kingdom of the Divine Will. Day 5. The 5th step of the Divine Will in the Queen of Heaven. The Triumph of the Test. The Soul to the Virgin. Celestial Sovereign, I see that you stretch out your arms toward me to take me onto your maternal knees. And I run, or rather I fly, to enjoy the chaste embraces, the celestial smiles of my celestial Mamma. Holy Mamma, your appearance today is of a triumpher. And with an air of triumph, you want to narrate to me the triumph of your test. Ah, yes, most gladly I will listen to you. And I pray you to give me the grace to be able to triumph in the tests which the Lord will dispose for me. Lesson of the Queen of Heaven. Child most dear to me, oh, how I yearn to confide my secrets to my child. Secrets which will give me much glory, and which will glorify that divine fiat, which was the primary cause of my immaculate conception, of my sanctity, sovereignty, and maternity. I owe everything to the fiat. I know nothing else. All of my sublime prerogatives, for which the Holy Church so much honors me, are nothing other than the effects of that divine will which dominated me, reigned, and lived in me. This is why I yearn so much that which produced in me so many privileges and admirable effects has to astonish heaven and earth, be known. Now listen to me, dear child. As soon as the Supreme Being asked me for my human will, I comprehended the grave evil that the human will can do in the creature, and how it puts everything in danger. even the most beautiful works of her Creator. The creature with her human will is all oscillation. She is weak, inconstant, disordered. And this because in creating man, God had created him united with his divine will, as though by nature, in such a way that it was to be the strength, the prime motion, the support, the food, the life of the human will. So by not giving life to the divine will in our own, we reject the goods received from God in creation, and the rights received by nature in the act in which we were created. Oh, how well I comprehended the grave offense that is given to God, and the evils that pour upon the creature. I had such horror and fear of doing my will, and rightly did I fear, because Adam too was created innocent by God, and yet by doing his own will, into how many evils did he not plunge himself and all generations? Therefore, I, your mamma, taken by terror, and even more by love toward my Creator, swore never to do my will, and to be more sure, and to better attest my sacrifice to the one who had given me so many seas of graces and privileges, I took this human will of mine, and I bound it to the foot of the divine throne, in continuous homage of love and sacrifice, promising never to use my will, not even for one instant of my life, but always that of God. My child, to you, perhaps, my sacrifice of living without my will may not seem great, but I tell you that there is no sacrifice similar to mine. Even more, all other sacrifices in the whole history of the world can be called shadows in comparison with mine. To sacrifice oneself for one day, now yes, now no, is easy. But to sacrifice oneself in each instant, in each act, in the very good that one wants to do, for one's entire life, without ever giving life to one's own will, is the sacrifice of sacrifices. It is the greatest attestation that can be offered, and the purest love, filtered through the divine will itself, that can be offered to our Creator. This sacrifice is so great that God cannot ask anything more of the creature, nor can she find how to sacrifice more for her Creator. Now, my most dear child, as soon as I gave the gift of my will to my Creator, I felt triumphant in the test asked of me, and God felt triumphant in my human will. God was waiting for my proof. That is, a soul who would live without will, in order to adjust the balance with mankind, and to assume the attitude of clemency and mercy. Therefore I will wait for you again to narrate to you the story of what the divine will did after the triumph of the test. And now a little word to you, my child. If you knew how I yearn to see you living without your will. You know that I am your mother, and a mamma wants to see her child happy. But how can you be happy if you do not decide to live without your will, as your mamma lived? If you do so, I will give you everything. I will place myself at your disposal. I will be all for my child, provided that I receive the good, the contentment, the happiness of having a child who lives all of divine will, the soul. Triumphant Sovereign, into your hands of Mother do I place my will, so that you, yourself, as Mamma, may purify it and embellish it for me, and bind it together with your own to the foot of the divine throne, that I may live not with my will, but always, always with that of God. Little sacrifice. Today, to honor me, in each act you do, you will deliver your will into my maternal hands, and will pray me to let the divine will flow in place of your own. Ejaculatory prayer. Triumphant Queen, steal my will from me, and grant me the divine will. You have reached the end of Day 5 in the Virgin Mary in the Kingdom of the Divine Will. Fiat.